G'day. This is Charlie. I'm coming to you today from my locals community with your daily dose of business inspiration. Topic number 194, the importance of continuous improvement. Yeah, I've done it before. I'm going to do it again. I'm sure it's just there's so many things to speak about on these topics and giving you little nuggets as we go along and helping you develop is a better way, I think, than giving you a big long lecture about all these things. And, I just think it's better to get little bits out at a time. Let's have a talk about continuous improvement. Continuous improvement is an ongoing effort to enhance products, services, and processes to increase efficiency and quality. That is important so that we drive innovation, competitiveness, and long-term success. I really kind of like that. I love continuous improvement, by the way. It's I won't say I've lived my life that way. It's certainly somewhere that I've got to over my career, over my life though. And I tend to implement it by doing things like I will go and do something and then I say, okay, how could I have done that better? What can I have done here? What worked well? What didn't work well? I'm going to come back to some of this in a minute. But continuous improvement for me has become a lifestyle. It's part of my lifestyle. It's part of what I do. Everything I do has some element of continuous improvement in it. That might sound tragic. I'm realizing as I'm speaking, it probably does sound tragic. But I kind of like it, and it's just the way it is now. It works for me. So what are some of the strategies for fostering continuous improvement? Well, you've got to get your employees involved. You've got to make sure that they feel empowered and safe enough to suggest improvements. And then when they've done that, you need to be involving them in the implementation process. I really can't highlight how important that is. If someone comes to you and says, I think we can do this, you say, yeah, okay, and then you go and get it done, or you go and get someone else to do it, that can be really demoralizing to your staff member. But if you say to someone, hey, listen, that's a really good idea, why don't you go out and see what we need to do that and come back and talk to me? Or why don't you put together a project plan? Or why don't you go and work with so-and-so to get that implemented? You're giving them ownership of the idea they've brought to you, and you're giving them that sense of fulfillment, achievement, pride in being able to have done something and be able to point to something and say, I did that. Regular feedback. Collect and act on feedback from your customers, your employees, your team members, or other stakeholders. That is important too. Now, whether that is because you go out and you use surveys with your clients and say, or customers and say, hey, how did this go? What could be done better? Would you recommend this service to other people? By the way, I really hate the surveys that I get that say, would you recommend this service to another person? No, I won't. Because you're asking me whether I would or I wouldn't. Maybe I'm just being ornery about that. But that kind of really bugs me, especially when I have just bought something and I haven't had time to experience it or to take a valued judgment on it. I really wouldn't recommend doing that one. I would recommend, thanks so much for purchasing. Would you mind answering a few questions about the purchasing process? Or waiting a little bit before you send out the survey to ask about the product that they've bought so that they've had time to use it, if that makes sense. Sorry, a bit dry in here. Benchmarking. Compare your performance with industry standards and best practices to identify areas for improvement. Maybe you don't have any benchmarks for your industry. Maybe you don't have anything that's really documented about best practices, but you can certainly go out and have a look at what your competitors or your co-opetition is doing and get some ideas there as to where you're performing in the market. Always a good thing to do though is benchmark. And if you can't get it against the industry standards or best practices, what I would be doing is setting myself a benchmark of what I'm doing today and then looking at what my improvements are, looking at whether we've improved or whether we're falling backwards. You just get yourself a line in the sand that you can judge yourself against. What are some of the benefits of doing continuous improvement? Well, we've spoken about some of it, but innovation, continuous improvement fosters a culture of innovation and creativity. When you're looking at how can we do this better? How can we do this quicker? How can we do this more profitably? You are opening your mind up. You're opening yourself up to ideas that will come to you by looking at something. What if we changed that just there and we did this thing? Would that make a difference? It also brings efficiency because you're improving processes and you're reducing waste in doing things. Well, you may be reducing waste in doing things. So efficiency is a side effect of continuous improvement. And of course, the big one is your customer satisfaction. By enhancing things, enhancing your process, enhancing your products, enhancing your services, you're going to make your customers happier and more loyal in general. And finally, the one thing that isn't mentioned on my notes here is your team. Your team is going to be happier because they are going to be able to feel, well, let me rephrase that. They should feel more productive, more efficient, and that they've have a say in what's going on within your business. What do you guys think about continuous improvement? Is this something that you do naturally? Is it something that you really have to work at? Have you not even thought about doing it within your business? I would love to know what you're thinking. I'd love to know what's worked for you, what hasn't worked for you, where you're having troubles, where we can help you, where you can help others. That would be great too. Come across to my locals community, askcharlyleetham.locals.com, and join the conversation there. Please remember before you go from this video to like this video, subscribe to the channel, ring the notification bell so you find out when I drop more content. Please leave a review if you're listening to this on a platform where you can leave a review, and maybe share this content with someone else today. That would be wonderful. Thank you so much. Tomorrow, we're going to be talking about topic number 195, the power of networking. See you tomorrow, guys. Bye.